So let's get down to business here. Gentlemen, if you remember the GOP debate, the forum is going to be very much similar to that. This forum is designed to last approximately 60 minutes. Each candidate will be given 3 minutes to introduce themselves. The order of introductions will be alphabetical by last name. So once again, Alex Johnson first, followed by Michael McNeely, then Michael Welsh. Questions will be provided by the moderator only, and who was given them prior to the beginning of the debate. The only people who have seen the questions prior to the debate were the chairman and the executive committee members of the Newton County Republican Party. I will be the final determination in terms of which questions get asked in the interest of time. No questions will be given out in advance to any candidate, but gentlemen, I assure you, having watched several of the other forums, you know all the questions. If a candidate brings up another candidate in an attack, that candidate will get 30 seconds to respond. No counter responses will be allowed. All candidates will be given 3 minutes for closing statements. Once again, it'll go in alphabetical order, so Alex Johnson will be able to speak, who spoke first at the very beginning of this forum. Will end up being Michael Welsh, who will speak last. No responses will be allowed for closing statements, and closing statements, as I said, will also be in alphabetical order by last name. Any question on the rules? Okay, let's get started. Your timekeeper is Scott J., who will notify you. He has a timer. Scott, I would recommend, I guess, raising a hand at 30 seconds, and then raising again with about 10 seconds left for them to finish up. And if we're all ready, I turn it over to you, Mr. Johnson.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Alex Johnson, for those of you who don't know me, and I'm running for chairman of the state Republican Party. My involvement in Republican politics started back in 2003, 2004, when I helped found the Oglethorpe University College Republicans. I was involved there, and then around 2009, I got involved in my local county party, DeKalb County, Georgia. In DeKalb County, I got involved because I was annoyed about the Obama election, and I really didn't like the idea of our government getting bigger and more expensive on the federal level, so I wanted to make a difference. I got involved in Republican politics because I just wanted to make a difference. In 2010, I ran for state senate in DeKalb County, District 41. I got about 43% of the vote that year. Stayed involved, was legal counsel for the DeKalb County Republican Party. I'm chairman of the DeKalb County Young Republicans, and I've held other positions in the DeKalb County Party. And then what happened is around 2013, I ran for chairman in the past, as many of you may know, of the state Republican Party. And in 2013, I wanted to make sure that the party was grown through its grassroots and getting more people involved around the state, making sure more people were empowered and knew that we existed, knew what was going on. Did not win that year. 2015, I ran again when the party's finances were in poor shape. That year, the treasurer at the time, Bob Mazies, who had served for about 20 years, endorsed me in that race 2 years ago. And he saw the financial problems coming, I did, and we stood up to try to change them. Didn't happen, but kept going, kept putting out information statewide through Advance the GOP. If you all don't get those newsletters or see them on the website, you can subscribe anytime, but all that history is there. Beginning of 2016, I became the president of the Georgia Republican Assembly. When I took over, it had maybe 6 or 7 paid members, and then now it has over 170 plus statewide in 4 local chapters. Because I've been growing the party while the state party has not been providing that support. So that is why I'm running, is to make sure that we actually have that support statewide. If you look right now in the 6th district where I live with my wife Andrea, we've had 4 Democratic door knockers come by our house in the 6th district. No Republican door knockers. That's a problem. The Democrats get all these people through through the rallies and marches that go on. They data mine, get that information, and get out all these people. We need to be able to raise an army very quickly, and as chairman, that's what I'll do. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Michael McNeely. I'm glad to be here with you tonight. Thank you all for having this debate. A little bit about me. I'm a Georgia native. I grew up in Rennes, Georgia. It's near Augusta. Grew up there with my mother and father, Alec and Francis McNeely, and at 9 months old, they adopted me. And so the right to life issue is very important to me. And they raised me to serve God and country, and I've been doing that all of my life. Attended and graduated Georgia Southern University with a degree in criminal justice. I was a police officer for 14 years, served in the Georgia Army National Guard, and currently an executive with Georgia Juvenile Justice. In the party, I worked my way up through the ranks of the grassroots. I first volunteered for the re-election campaign of then Governor Sonny Creed. Was the third vice chair and first vice chair in Douglas County. Served as chairman of the Georgia Black Republican Council. Served as the political director for the Georgia Young Republicans, and currently is the first vice chair of the Georgia Republican Party. Over the years, I've seen things that we've done well that have worked, but I've also seen many things that have not worked. And I'm prepared to lead with you in all the 159 counties in the party if you should have me as your next chairman. And I do all of this campaigning and preparing for a bright future in our state party with the support of my wife Jennifer and our daughter Ayana. I'm very happy to be here, and I look forward to working with you for many, many years to come, as I have all the time that I've been involved in the party. Thank you.
Good evening. Got to press the red button. Good evening. How are y'all tonight? Doing well. My name is Mike Welsh. I am from the Augusta area, and just a little bit about me as well. I'm Georgia born and bred. I was born up in North Georgia, and I've lived in Atlanta where I graduated from high school in DeKalb County, and then went to UGA and picked up a degree in finance, and also my lovely bride Susie. We'll be married 35 years on the Monday after the convention. In Mo, I have been there. In fact, on my 25th wedding anniversary, we were in Britain and Scotland. And y'all really need to be praying for me, because 25 we were there at that beautiful gate, and 35 not so much. So anyway, we are proud parents of 4 kids, 2 that are married and have children of their own, and 2 that are still at home, although one is now up in D.C. interning with Senator Perdue, Grace. She was the 2016 Teenage Republican of the Year. And my son Samuel, who's with us tonight, is the current second vice chair for the Teenage Republicans, and I am the state advisor for that group as well. Professionally, I've worked for a lot of big companies, because after I finished my second degree with a master's degree in accounting, I ended up working for some very large companies that you recognize, names like Texas Instruments and Coca-Cola Enterprises. And then I went out on my own and started a consulting company where I spent a career helping people fix things that were broken or build things that didn't exist. So I've worked with some very large companies and worked with some very small companies, and the emphasis there was to correct deficiencies by getting people together, figuring out what was missing, and finding ways to fix it as quickly and as efficiently as possible. From a political perspective, I started out at the county level and just kept working, and pretty soon I found myself as the district chairman mid-term, as we were entering the 2014 elections, where we were facing John Barrow again for the 5th time. We were able to put together a really good coalition, and to the surprise of many, were able to unseat the last white blue dog Democrat in the South and put Rick Allen in instead. And we've never looked back. It's been a great run from that ever since. So what you'll find from me is a leader, somebody that rolls up his sleeves and goes and gets it done. And I would appreciate your vote in Augusta this June. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we'll start off with that first question, and Michael McNeely, you can go first answering it, then we'll go to Mike Welsh, and then back to Alex Johnson. We'll continue on in that order. Candidates, if you ask a crowd of Georgia Republicans, what is the role of the GA GOP chairman, you'll get many different answers. If elected, your answer to this question can tell us a lot about what to expect from each of you if you become the head of the party. Could each of you summarize your opinion on what the role of the party chairman is? Mr. McNeely.
Well, the role of the Georgia Republican Party begins and ends with our principles. If we don't stand for something, we'll fall for anything. And too many times, we've seen Republicans hesitant to speak the truth about what has made this country great and is making it great again. So I think that our party and the chairman should be willing to stand on those principles and speak about them proudly, and sometimes even in opposition to fellow Republicans. I think that the party represents, it's the brand of who we are as a party and the conservative principles that we believe in. It is an organization that is there to help unite the grassroots of our party, the men and women who work hard all over our state to get Republicans elected, that wave the signs, that go door to door, that do the phone banking. It's a party that brings us together, understanding also that we're all unique individuals and we're going to have differences of opinion sometimes, but focusing on a big picture, focusing on a vision that includes all conservatives from all walks of life. Because as we've all heard many times before, and it's so true, this is a center-right nation. And our party has to message to all communities and do it effectively, not just talking about our principles, but more specifically how they apply to the policies that our Republican elected officials work on under the GOP Dome. So the party is our conservative principles if we're leading it the right way. And I know myself for sure would be a chairman that is willing to stand on those very principles so that everyone knows who we are.
2 minutes.
I just recently finished reading a book by two Navy SEALs that had served in Fallujah right before the Great Awakening. It's called Extreme Ownership. And when you think about what the state party chairman's role is, that's exactly it in a nutshell. It is extreme ownership. It is being there 24/7, 365. It is creating the vision and the plan that is necessary to take the party to where it needs to be, as determined by the state committee members and the vision that the state chairman himself cast on that group. You'll note that on my push card I have a very simple but very effective 4-point plan that will summarize what I see the party chairman requirements to be. Number one, to create a vision that unifies the party. Number two is to create a digital infrastructure that allows us to turn Cobb and Gwinnett red again. Number three, to welcome all of the 2016 voters that were new to the party and make sure they stay with the party for generations to come. And number four is to address our financial issues, retire our debt, and provide sufficient funding to enable us to have a cash reserve going into the 2018 constitutional elections and the 2020 presidential election. In a nutshell, you own it, beginning, end, and everything in between. Thank you.
Mr. Johnson, 2 minutes.
Well, the role of the state party chairman is to stand up for what we all believe in as Republicans, to stand up for our principles, to stand up for our platform, and to stand up for the resolutions that we pass at the state convention or through the state committee members. And I mean, right now, we're not really succeeding at that as a state Republican Party. I mean, you look at the resolutions passed a year ago, they're supposed to be prominently placed on the state GOP website for 5 years. Last time I checked, they aren't even posted. That's a problem. So no one even knows what we stand for to begin with. So first of all, we need to make sure that all of our voices are heard and people know how to, through policies, procedures, education, and training, coming from the state to let people know that these matter. Now the second part of it is that, well, why are people going to listen? Why will elected officials listen to us? And the reason why right now a lot of them aren't is because you need to think about the numbers. 2 million plus people voted for Donald Trump in this last presidential election. And 3, maybe 4,000, less than 1% of those people know about and know how to be involved in the Republican Party, especially at the state level. We aren't advertising and we aren't saying by our brand. The state chairman must be committed to making a strong, sustainable organization that has policies and procedures that make it so people want to be involved, that people want to give money to the party to help us get Republicans elected. Because if we don't answer the how and the why, it's never going to happen. We need to stand by our principles and get them out there, do events around all of the state, not just around Atlanta, doing events that aren't just $250 ticket fundraisers, but we need to be doing events to let people know how to be involved, how to be engaged, and how they can make a difference in politics. We need to be letting gun rights groups, fraternal orders of police, all these different conservative-leaning groups know we exist on the state level and how to be involved. Because all of you in this room that are delegates are leaders of the party. And you need people to lead and train and to move forward so we don't have it when in the 6th district happening right now. So that's where we need to move with the state party. And that's, as chairman, what I'm committed to is growing the grassroots so that we'll be listened to and people know the good our elected officials are doing in the state capitol. Because if people don't know what they're doing and how our policies are helping lives, then we're just going to lose more ground. Thank you.
Thank you. Sort of exploring that a little bit, Mr. Welsh. Next question is, what is your plan for the state chairman, the district chairs, and the county chairs to work together more efficiently and as a unified team?
Well, that starts with the number one on the plan. You must have a vision. Because you're not all unified in where you're going, you'll be fighting each other along the way. As a consultant, management consultant, many times I was to come into an organization where there are many different departments, each one with their own essentially chairman or supervisor or VP. And we had to quickly figure out a way to make sure that everybody understood what the mission was. What is it we're trying to achieve? And then what is your role in that achievement? And we do that through a thing called goal deployment. If everybody knows what the goal is and everybody knows what they're supposed to do to help fulfill that goal, then it's very easy to ensure that every action they take helps you get one step closer to that goal. Without that, you won't get there. With it, you will be amazed at how many things you can achieve without taxing each individual more than they can take. Because let's face it, district chairs, county chairs are all volunteers, just like you. They're not paid. They don't have unlimited amount of time. So you have to be wise and judicious in what you ask for and make sure the task can be manageable and achieved in a sufficient amount of time that it does in fact end in a positive goal being achieved.
Mr. Johnson, 2 minutes.
Now, first, the structure of the party needs to have more communication and education within it. For example, the state committee runs the party between meetings of the executive committee by the rules. The executive committee runs the party between meetings of the state committee, and the state committee runs them in between conventions, state conventions. The party is run by all of you at the state convention, then with the state committee, and with the state executive committee, which is all the district chairs and the statewide officers you elect at the convention coming up. Those are the people that you need to count on for communication, information, and organization statewide. The problem right now is that there's a lot of focus on just the party chairman. And the state party chairman is very important, but we need to be empowering those other people on the state committee and board with knowing that they have a voice. That when the party starts having financial difficulties, they're allowed to make motions to stop that or even to remove the party chairman if they're doing a bad job. The fact is, that is the board that runs the party. Additionally, we need to look at the fact that right now there are a lot of people in some parts of the state, like in South Georgia and other parts, that don't want to be on the state committee because they don't want to go to Atlanta for the meetings. We need to use our advances in teleconferencing software to make sure that people in all parts of the state are included if the meetings for the state committee aren't nearby. Additionally, we need to move the state committee meetings to various parts of the state regularly so that everyone feels informed and empowered. And ultimately, if we're going to look at the organization of getting everyone to work together, those are the type of things we have to do. We have to get the word out. We have to get the message out. And I mean, I've been doing my best personally through the Advance of GOP newsletters for the past few years of letting people know what events are around the state. It's not necessarily the state party structure, but if we don't know what's going on and being in contact with each other, that's a serious difficulty that can be easily solved. One thing that I'll be working hard on to make sure that everyone is empowered in the party.
Mr. McNeely, thank you.
Yeah, well, you have to have relationship with our leadership, and it should not be a situation where we have executive state committee meetings and you come and you hear whatever the chair's got to say and then you go home. It should be a partnership. What ideas do you have to bring to the table based on your county and your district? What's the demographic information that's applicable to your area? What elected positions do we have secured as Republicans, and where can we pick up seats? What are the individuals and the families and the communities there locally? And we have to implement a strategy and measurable goals to move our party forward, continue to grow and be relevant in the state. Have measurables. What can we accomplish in a year? What can we accomplish in 6 months? In addition to that, we have to have formalized training. We need training for our leadership. If you're going to be a leader, whether it's at the precinct level or any other, there should be formalized training where when you come in the door, somebody can hand you that information for you to learn about what it means to be in leadership in the local party. We need candidate training. So if you're a Republican and you want to run for office, what does that mean? What does it entail? If you want to be a part of the delegate process, we need training there for you so that you know what to do and how to be involved. I remember when I first came to the party, and there was none of that. I just had to find out for myself because I was motivated to be there. But we have to have this training that will help unify us and bring us all on one page and help with the unification process. And so those are just a few things I think are very important to incorporate all leadership in our party.
Thank you all very much. So we're turning to that first access into the party, looking at our young people. And real quickly, I'd like to acknowledge a great person in this room who is doing a lot of great work to help recruit young people into the Republican Party. Rob Lee, who's the state chairman of the Georgia Young Republicans. It's great to see you. A lot of times, leadership of the party sees young people as just those there to do the grunt work. Knock on doors, put up signs, and that's about it. Appealing to these younger generations is vital to keeping the party up to date on new issues and fresh ideas as a way of outreach. As chairman, what are some ways you have done this to reach out to young people to get them better involved? And what are your plans to get more young people involved? And will this include helping people like Rob Lee with establishing new young Republican chapters, also the college Republican and teenage Republican chapters? We'll start with Mr. Johnson. 2 minutes.
Well, first of all, absolutely. That means we all need to be working together in all the organizations in the state. I know that one thing that Rob and his young Republicans have proposed is trying to change some of the rules to allow the young Republicans to have more of a voice on the state committee of the state party. That's something that can be considered at the state convention. I think would be a very good change. But at the same time, I think that we need to look at what the current situation is. As Jason's question presupposed, there is a lot of sort of the idea that the young people are there to just do the grunt work. But we need, if we expect young people to be involved, we need to show them how they can make a difference in politics. That's ultimately why Donald Trump won this last election, is he talked about how the people need to be served by the government and how people deserve to get jobs and have the government get out of the way to support Republican principles to help their lives. Ultimately, we need to educate people on that, and we need to make sure that the youth understand that by being involved in the Republican Party, they can actually make a difference in how. That involves training people on how to have influence over elected officials, where they're going to be, how to run for office, where to go if you want to make a difference, and how to do it. The other thing is that we need to make sure to focus on getting teen and college and young Republican chapters started. In the past, the state party oftentimes has more of a hands-off approach in saying, well, that's a separate organization. Sure, it is a separate organization. They have their own leadership. That doesn't mean we shouldn't provide support by helping out with getting speakers there, helping get elected officials there, and doing whatever support we can to make sure that those chapters start. Because think about it. If we get a teen Republican chapter started, then we can also get in touch with their parents. And if we get in touch with the teenagers' parents, those are multiple Republicans that are now tied into the party that we all can help lead for the local chapters around the state. Same with the colleges. We need those chapters if we hope to get more people involved.
Thank you. Mr. McNeil.
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, I served as political director for the Georgia Young Republicans for a number of years and helping to create and keep going CR organizations around the state, focusing on issues that resonate with young people. I mean, we talk about all of our principles, but which issues are specifically needing to be talked about amongst young people? What's important to them? Certainly jobs and the economy, student loan debt, things like that. And you have to have a relationship with the people that you want to bring in and be a part of what you're doing. And you can't just ask them to go door to door phone bank and then ignore them the rest of the year. And we also, we talk about these $250 ticket dinners that we have. Well, a lot of young people are starting out in life and getting their first jobs. They can't afford that, but they need to be there. And I've gone to many of these dinners and see tables with empty seats. And the chairman ought to be saying, listen, let's dedicate several tables here for our CRs and our YRs and our teens to come and be in the room. They've done the hard work. They need to be there with the donors. They need to be there with our VIP Republican guests and whatnot. Be a part of what we're doing and meet people. and feel appreciated. We certainly need to have them be a part of our strategic planning. What are your ideas about what we do and how we do it? Because if we want to get things done and want to grow our party, we have to take every individual, every group within our party seriously and make sure they're a part of what we do and how we do it. We've given too much lip service to saying millennials and minorities and all these different groups. Let's get to work and show the fruit of what we say we believe.
Thank you, Mr. McNeely. Mr. Welch, 4 minutes.
When you look at what you achieved, you have to look at why you do what you do. So with teenagers, they can be a tad unruly, we all know that, but they can be a great source of inspiration. The largest teenage Republican chapter in the state of Georgia is in my backyard. It's at Greenbrier High School. I'm the state advisor for the Teenage Republicans, have been for the last 2 cycles for them. As the 12th district chairman, I had I believe, the youngest county chair in the entire state in Effingham County. She was 28 and she was elected. You need to look and see what people are doing. Because the ones that get it done keep doing good things. Don't be afraid of the youth. They bring a lot of great ideas, they bring a lot of energy. But they have to be welcomed. They don't see the world we do. They're not interested in a breakfast meeting. They're interested in something that fits their needs. Maybe a coffee shop at 2 a.m. Are you prepared to do that? If you're not serious about getting the millennial and youth vote engaged. You need to be where they are. You need to speak their language. You need to listen. The last thing they want is somebody telling them what to do. What they're looking for is somebody to say, come with me, let's have fun together. We can make a difference. That's what they're after. Are you willing? I am.
Thank you. We return back to this next question. The first person to respond will be Mr. McNeely. And let's delve into that question about time commitment. Since all of you have full-time jobs, how will you balance the responsibilities of your job and your role as chairman of the Georgia Republican Party? 2 minutes.
I'll do it just like I'm balancing it right now. Making fundraising calls, traveling the state, doing media requests, going to Washington, D.C., meeting with our Republican elected officials, waving signs, going door to door, doing all the things that I've been doing as first vice chair for the last few years. And you judge people by their fruit. So if I've been doing that all this time, certainly I will be just as committed to doing that as chairman and being a grassroots chairman and working with you to do that.
Thank you, Mr. Welch.
We all have to make choices, but we're all given the exact same 24 hours every day. So the first thing is deciding what's most important. Before I started this task, I sat down with all of the family and first made sure everybody was on board. They were. Somebody asked me at one meeting, I'd sure like to know what you've given up to do this. And I said, well, I've already given up a very precious thing. My 17-year-old son's basketball team won the Georgia homeschool championship. Won the South Carolina one, came in second in Georgia and third in the nation. I did not get to see a single game because I was campaigning and working on party activities. As an independent consultant, I spent 17 years waiting for the phone call. Didn't matter when it came. Middle of the night, early in the morning, at a kid's game, whatever. When the phone rings, you answer it. You schedule your time, you do the right things, you will always be ready to achieve the greatest things that you can do. Whether we use technology wisely or not is up to us. There's some great tools that are out there today to be able to leverage our involvement throughout the state. My plan includes district offices throughout the state so that instead of you calling Maple Drive and getting an answer occasionally, you will get a phone call that will be answered from 8 a.m. Monday morning to 8 p.m. Saturday night. Throughout the state, using technology, we will make sure that the party is close to you and you are close to it. That is my promise to you.
Mr. Johnson, 2 minutes.
Well, my job is I have my own legal practice, so it's I've been allocating my time appropriately. I'm able to have enough time to work in the evenings and whenever it's necessary to get the job done for my clients. At the same time, I've been currently I'm president of the Georgia Republican Assembly, which is a statewide grassroots group, which when I took over a little bit over a year ago, it had about 6 or 7 paid members, and now it's over 170. When I'm elected chairman, if I'm elected chairman, I'll be resigning that position immediately and devoting my time to the chairmanship of the state party. I've already been doing it, I've already been allocating my time, because I think that ultimately, if we don't fix what's going on in politics, our state's going to go blue. That is a priority. We must make that our priority. I make no money off politics. I'm not tied into anything working for the government. Like it is my calling to make sure that our party is strong statewide, because if that isn't the priority, we're going to lose the state to the Democrats. And that's something that will affect my business and my family. My wife, Andrea, is extremely committed to helping and has been supportive. Many of you may have met her around the state. But the family's on board, I'm on board, and I definitely don't have any time conflicts in my business.
Thank you, sir. So let's kind of delve into the elephant in the room. There's no secret that the state party's in financial dire straits. While the subject of raising money has been a major issue in this campaign, there are also some that believe that we find ourselves in a situation due to spending. Being that cutting spending is a huge Republican ideology. What would be your top priorities to cut spending at the state party level to help address these financial issues? 2 minutes, Mr. Welch.
Well, first thing you have to understand is what are the expenses and why do you have them? If you look at raw dollars, the biggest expenditure is for campaigning. I don't think anybody wants us to cut that. So then you start looking at what are your other levels of spending going on. So salaries is a big one. And you have to look and see, do we get the bang for the buck that we have with salaries? And I think that you look at those individually to determine whether that is happening. The other big issue we face is a fixed cost on our lease. It's a very favorable lease from my understanding, but it's also a very large dollar amount. It's a big nut that we have to bite off each month. And then there's the debt, because we can't let it go on forever. So we got to do something with that. So you got to figure out how do you retire that debt. That's going to be an expense that has to be dealt with. But a lot of people would say, well, we'll deal with it later, and I'll not do that. But you have to come to grips with it, and you have to come to grips with it in a very forthright manner. So when I look at things from a financial perspective, I look at what does it buy me? What kind of return do I get for that expenditure? One by one, line item by line item. What I found over my career of financial activities is that in each P&L line item or budget line item, there's usually a cost driver. The one thing that makes that thing go to be what it is. You've got to examine that, figure out what that is, and then bring it under control. And sometimes it's not just an easy thing. Sometimes you're going to have to tell somebody, you can't make the money you're making, or we can't have you in this position any longer. And we'll take a good hard look at that to make sure that that is addressed quickly and fairly.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Well, every expenditure by the state party should be focused on getting new Republican voters, getting Republicans actually elected, and supporting county parties in involvement in training. Now, if those things aren't being done with the money efficiently, then it needs to be cut. Now, the question, and the information necessary to think about this is what's been happening in the past. Now, if you look at the FEC disclosures, which are public record on the FEC website, you'll see that there have been a lot of expenditures that just go $6,000, $7,000 a month for communications consulting. There was one person elected that was getting paid about that for quote-unquote grassroots consulting and currently is incarcerated, if all of you don't know that story. But that's, those type of things are things that we need to be asking the deeper question of why aren't we getting the money in? And part of it is a lack of credibility of the expenditures. It shouldn't be friends of the chairman that are getting contracts for working for the party, or being independent consultants, or getting agreements to put out the mail. Like, those things need to be bid on. We need policies that are bid on, and those policies need to be passed by the state committee so that in future administrations, the chairman doesn't have as much power over it. Because that isn't the reason why people should be running for party chairman. The reason why is to get Republicans elected, to get people into office, not people, the next party chairman scraps everything from the previous one and hires new people. That isn't a good system of a sustainable organization. And that's what's currently happening. As chairman, that's what will change. We'll make sure that every dollar coming in from donors is being put to good use so that that can be advertised to other donors in the public so people want to give to the party, be involved in the party, and support the party, instead of wondering, well, where's my money going? Is it really going to good use? Why don't I just give to a candidate or a PAC? That ends when I'm chairman.
Thank you, Mr. McNeely.
Yes. So just like each of you do in your own households, you don't spend more money than you bring in. State party has to do the same thing. Doesn't matter what the dollar amount is. We have to be good fiscal conservatives and be accountable to those that depend on us to do the right things in the leadership in our party. Whoever the chairman is so vitally important because so much of the power is within that role. We can't go out and spend unnecessarily. The amount of money that the state party spent on our current website is a ridiculous amount. And the information, or the lack thereof, from the website has been debated around the state. We need value for the money that we're spending. And we should not overspend for what we're getting. We have to have a budget. What is it that we're spending on currently? How can we cut the unnecessary spending? And how are we showing you, the grassroots, what we're doing and how we're doing it? When we ask people for money, we can't simply say we're raising money to defeat Democrats. Well, what does that mean? What specifically are we doing with that money? How are we articulating what we're doing? And that is what will resonate with people that will write the checks. Raising money is very important to what we do as a party, but it is not the only issue. So please, as you consider the candidates, consider all the very important things that we must vote on. We have to have a chairman that is able to effectively engage all communities, because just like we've seen in very diverse counties like Gwinnett and Cobb, we cannot continue to win if we don't grow our party. We have to have a chairman who is going to unite the grassroots, because if it was all about money, Mitt Romney would have won the presidency a few years ago. But he did not, because the voter enthusiasm was not there. We've got a 6th congressional district race with a candidate who did not spend the most money, but Karen Handler is our candidate. So let's make sure we're focused on the big picture and all of the very important elements to being a chairman and being a party.
Thank you. Let's sort of follow up with that. We'll start with Mr. Johnson first. Organizationally, most of the executive committee and state committee members are being returned to the positions they held. How do you plan to basically get them engaged in a way that folks that have been in these positions through the financial crisis to be more observant and taking an active role to make sure the party is in a good financial situation?
Well, one bit of it is making sure the information actually gets out. I talked to one state committee member who claimed that she asked for financial statements in writing, and the response was, oh, well, we aren't going to give those out because they might appear online. The ironic thing is, as I mentioned earlier, it's all on the FEC website. FEC.gov, the state ethics site, it's all already there. So one is just the basic common sense thing of making sure everyone's actually informed about the financial situation moving forward and people know where the money's going. The second thing is making sure that state committee members and the entire executive committee actually have roles and are using their talents and experience, which in some cases may be far more than mine, to be doing certain things regarding technology, regarding training, regarding letting people know how to be involved. I mean, if you look around the state, there are some counties that are just killing it on fundraising. They're doing a great job, and then the county next door doesn't have the manpower or knowledge how to run a great fundraiser. Other places throw great social events, and next door they don't. Or they know Robert's rules, know how to run meetings, run the conventions. Others, they don't know that either. We need to have the state committee be a working state committee where people's talents are valued and not told just to show up, have a couple votes, and leave. We need to be providing those services to the county parties so that we can help grow the party. We need people to be traveling around the state to events that we currently don't have a presence at to bring in new Republican voters. We need to have booths and tables at things like the NRA convention that was just downtown. We need people at civic groups, gun shows, just getting in contact with people about being involved so that way we actually can expand our numbers, because that's how we beat Democrats. We beat them by getting more voters included into the party, knowing how to be empowered.
Mr. Gillen?
Yeah, well, whoever you elect as chairman, that person cannot do this work alone. We have to work together. Every one of you has background with experience and knowledge that needs to be brought to the forefront. We have men and women all across the state that are willing to work hard and can bring value to our party, but they have to have an opportunity for that, and a leader who is willing to make that a focus. So in addition to training that I mentioned earlier, we have to get your feedback, and we have to provide you the information of what's going on in the party, what we're spending money on, what we're doing, what we have plans for, and incorporate your thoughts and ideas of what we're doing on a daily basis. You need a chairman that's going to come to you and go door to door with you for your local candidates. We need to invest in local candidates, whether it be county commission, city council positions, whatever it is, and help you keep your particular county red and growing and prospering. Because when we ask you to do things to help the state party, we have to be bringing value back to you. And we have to work in partnership every day, because it starts right there at the precinct level. How are we helping you do what you need to do? And it's got to all start with knowing what you need, because we're talking and coming to you and not asking you to drive up to Atlanta to have a meeting when we dictate. It's a 365-day proposition. And we saw the Democrats do a great job when Obama won the first time. They kept people on the ground until the re-elect. We have to be working every day to remind people of our principles and how they work for all individuals and families. And we do that in a collaboration of all 159 counties.
Mr. Welch?
First and foremost, it takes leadership. Somebody that understands organizational structure and puts in place things that are necessary for success. We have one of those individuals that asked about the question. I sat in the meeting when Rachel Little, our 4th District Chairman, raised her hand and said, I can do this grassroots thing, this grassroots fundraising. Well, why wasn't the question put before the group that this is what we need, not Rachel saying, I'll make it happen? Fortunately, she did. But we need leadership that says, these are the things that we need to do as a party. These are the things that the executive board needs to grasp and wrestle with and bring to the forefront, and then engage the next level down of the state committee, and the next level down of the county chairs, and the next level down of the executive boards of the county parties, and the next level down of the precinct chairs. It won't happen if you don't have the tools in place. If you don't empower the individuals to do the things they want to do. Nobody wants to make a phone call if their joy is knocking on the door. Nobody wants to sit in a meeting if their pleasure is out there holding an event. We all too often ask somebody to do something they don't really want to do and never empower them to do the thing that they are best suited for. That's leadership. Getting people involved in the things that they're looking forward to and engaging them in a way that they can excel. We can do this, but you have to have somebody that understands how that's done. And as your chairman, I will make sure that is done.
Thank you. So I just received a text message that according to 11 Alive and a Survey USA poll, that right now John Ossoff leads Karen Handel 51 to 44% in the Georgia 6 race. Of course, not just national, but as Mo can tell you, international spotlight has been turned to the state of Georgia over this race, which is now the most expensive congressional race in the country. As state party chair, one of you is going to be thrown right into the center of this with little time left. All of you have supporters across the state, including supporters within the 6th district. So the question is, how many hours have you spent calling and or canvassing to help the Georgia Republican Party, the RNC, and the 6th Congressional District win this race? I'll start with you, Mr. McNeil.
Well, Jason, I haven't calculated the hours, but I can tell you I was just with you the other weekend, Kyle, when we were making phone calls for Kay Kirkpatrick in Senate District 32, as well as Karen Handel. When Karen became the nominee, right after that, I fully endorsed her and got out front for her. I know that as a alumni of Republican leadership of Georgia, we have several members that are working on a fundraiser that I've agreed to help out as best I can with that. And we'll continue to promote her candidacy and do the phone banking and door-to-door, whatever I can do to help leading up to June 20th, because we must and we will win that race with Karen Handel as next Congressman in the 6th.
Thank you. Mr. Welch?
Well, first of all, I'll ask you to ask Mo what the polls said before Brexit was actually voted on. Folks, do not listen to the polls. How many of those polls predicted Donald Trump was going to be our president? How many? Do not listen. The best thing in the world is to prove it. So you do like I did. You get your friends. At the district convention, I asked everybody that could to sign up. Now, some of the folks in the 12th district to get to Cobb County, it's about a 4-hour ride. Some of them it's only 3. We took 12 names that signed up to go canvassing and phone banking. I've been 4 times from Augusta to the 6th district to canvass, to phone bank or canvass. We can do whatever we choose to do. Do not listen to the parties that are telling you that they're going to beat us. They're the wrong party. If our voters show up in District 6, we will win. It's as simple as that. We have the votes, we just got to get them out. So it's incumbent on every one of us in this room to make sure that everybody we know there is contacted. And if you can walk, you need to walk. We've got plenty of phone callers. I think everybody's been called 6 or 7, maybe even 10 times. But we need to walk, as Alex said. Nobody's knocked on his door yet. So we need to get those boots on the ground and get up there and get it done. Thank you.
Mr. Johnson?
Well, first of all, I agree completely with Mike Welch that we need to focus on not listening to the polls. I mean, we need to look at the crosstabs, and we need to realize that a lot of those polls are designed to make the races look competitive so that political consultants in the political industry make more money off a competitive race. That's how you raise money. You make it look tight, you make it look like like it's a close race, so that everyone gives money and it gets spent on the industry that makes money off these things. Now, the 6th district, I've been calling my friends, trying to get them to come out, make sure that they actually vote in the 6th district, since I'm the only candidate that lives there, and it's rather depressing. What we need to do is focus on the fact that this shouldn't be a competitive race. The infrastructure should have been there. The state party chairman should be able to pull out his or her cell phone and send out a text message that goes to 30, 40, 50,000 Republican volunteers in the state. That's how easy it should be when you look at the numbers I mentioned earlier. 3,000 to 4,000 people involved in the state Republican Party, 2 million plus Trump voters. Like, think about that. If that was Coca-Cola's market share, they would not be happy about it. We need to be focused on the idea that we need the infrastructure there so that when an election like this happens, we're there. And additionally, we should have that growth happening already. I mean, in early 2016, part of the way that I helped grow the Republican Assembly is I was going to Cobb for Trump volunteer events. There were 70 to 120 people there who had not been involved in the GOP in the past. They didn't hear from the state party, they didn't know how to be involved, and I and the GRA trained them on how to be involved in the convention process. No one else was doing it. That's why, but now those people are involved, and they are involved in the Cobb County Party, where Jason is now chairman, and a lot of them voted for him. And ultimately, it's important to look at the fact we need to be getting people involved and have an infrastructure so they aren't competitive races, like we said.
Thank you very much. Now turning on to sort of a local political issue. Here in Newton County, about a little more than a year ago, or 2 years ago, the Newton County GOP was faced with an internal conflict. Party leaders put out rules in place that conflicted explicitly with state party rules, and thus refused those wishing to participate in events like special events that are paid for by the Newton Party and conventions. Many in state leadership appeared to turn a blind eye for various reasons. Many people in this room were refused participation and had to resort to threatening legal and even at some points criminal action before anyone in the Georgia Republican Party stepped in. If an issue like this that happened in Newton County were to surface in the next 2 years, as chairman, how would you handle it? Also, if you were on the state committee or executive committee in 2015, why were you silent? And what do you have to say for the Republican grassroots of Georgia that will ensure us that real leadership integrity is something we can expect to see from you as our chairman? Mr. Welch, 2 minutes.
As chairman, you take conflict and you make good things happen, but you got to do it with gentleness and love and firmness. I was on the executive committee during that time frame. I have to admit to you that I didn't understand exactly what was going on because we didn't get a good picture of the direness of the situation here. And that's a very bad thing.
Right.
Because we should have been informed about the exact issue that was going on. And we were not. And that is something that should never happen. But I can tell you this much. If you choose to elect me as your state chairman, every single person will have access to me. And if you have a gripe that's legitimate, that you really feel you've not been treated fairly, then I'll certainly be willing to talk and listen to you. Now, there are rules. Sometimes they're used to put people down, which I totally disagree with. And I'm looking for ways, I will look for ways as the chairman to make it less so controlling for some folks to use those rules to exclude other people from participating. That's just wrong. I care about you, and I want to make sure that you know that. And the best way to do that is to sit there and look at you face to face across the table and discuss it and come to a conclusion. Even if we walk out and say we choose to agree to disagree, at the end of the day, we'll have reached that conclusion without screaming and hollering, and we can be friends again.
Mr. Johnson.
Well, first of all, what happened here regarding with Newton County was appalling. As many of you may know, I helped a lot behind the scenes talking to people about the rules, how to possibly try to follow the actual rules to solve the problem, and obviously that had some issues when a minority was turning around a vast majority of Republicans at the county convention. After having talked with many people involved in the party for years, the real thing that it comes down to is that conventions The majority has control. And if you try to go and keep out people who actually show up with the majority of the delegates by trying to claim they aren't delegates, that's going to kill our party. And that's what was happening. And it's as chairman, the main thing that I am focused on is to make sure we have a strong, thriving organization. This isn't an elite club. If you're a Republican, you're in. If you aren't a Republican, we want to make you a Republican, and then you're in. That's the ultimate goal. And using the rules and legal technicalities to try to keep people out is wrong. It is evil. It is morally appalling. And that's what we need to stop. As party chairman, I think that one of the clear things to do to help stop that from happening is to have policies in place and maybe even party rules changes to make sure that what happened doesn't happen again. And one of those things is by making sure that when you have an appeals process, that appeals process shouldn't include going to the people who broke the rules to begin with as your appeal, and then next going to their closest friends as the appeal. That's not fair to anyone in the process, because you don't want anyone to be in that situation. We're all friends here. Ultimately, getting people that are unbiased, without conflicts of interest, from other parts of the state would be ideal to adjudicate disputes. So that's one easy solution to try to solve that problem. But as chairman, my goal is to make sure all Republicans are in, and we're getting more Republicans here for you to lead.
Mr. McNeely.
Well, in our party, everyone should be welcomed, everyone should be respected, and everyone should be heard. In that particular issue, I had friends on both sides of the issue. But what I did specifically is I answered the call from many who asked me to come to Newton County, and I did. Some, I won't say their names, said, well, Michael, you shouldn't go. Or I wouldn't go. It's a mess out there, and saying disparaging things about fellow conservatives, which I did not approve of, and let them know that. But I came because I was asked. I came because it's my responsibility as a part of the leadership of our party. And one of the most important things I did was listen. And I heard the stories of individuals that were not able to be a part of the process. I talked to a couple, or actually the wife, who said, I was able to be a part of the party and be a delegate, and my husband wasn't. And the reason that our husband wasn't able to go to as many events is because he was taking care of their child at home while she was coming to the meetings, and they would trade off, but she just happened to have a little more time than he did. That shouldn't be happening. And we have to continuously evaluate our policies and improve upon them so that we minimize the opportunity for things like this to happen. Are we going to have disagreements sometimes? Sure. But we want to make sure that everybody, every fellow conservative from all walks of life has an opportunity to be a part of our party. And if I'm the chairman, I'm committed to that, and ensuring that you have a chairman that listens to you and incorporates your ideas and your solutions regarding many things across our party. Because, again, as I said earlier, whoever you elect as chairman cannot do this work alone. And a real leader is going to ensure that your voice is heard and made a part of what we do going forward.
Thank you. So this question, we'll start back up with Alex Johnson. Talk a little bit about the state party helping counties at the grassroots financially, with training, with funds as well. So the first part of this question is just kind of obvious. Can you acknowledge that you've received and have been provided with a copy of the resolution to support Republican grassroots? I don't know if this is the first time you've seen it, but you should have a copy in front of you. Probably haven't had time to read it. Please give us your opinion and position on the Georgia Republican Party financially supporting the grassroots. Basically, what the resolution says, with a portion of the monies the Georgia Republican Party gets from the war chest of politicians leaving public service. So in a nutshell, what the resolution calls for, if the Georgia Republican Party donates both financially or in kind to a candidate, that candidate finally retires from public service. Let's say they have a war chest of a couple, 1,000, 100,000. I don't think without a law passed, the state party can force this, but what would the party do under this resolution to help some of that money go back to the grassroots? Alternatively, if not, What do you specifically believe is the party's role in helping counties raise these funds? Mr. Johnson.
Well, ultimately, and I don't know if all of you have the resolution that's in front of us, but ultimately I think that the concept behind it and the resolution itself seems to be a very good one. Because when you start thinking about what goes on right now is that there's a breakdown between the party and elected officials. And the party is here and should be here to provide the infrastructure to make sure that when someone runs as a Republican, everybody in this state knows what that means and knows that it's going to help their lives and how it's going to, through our principles of limited government, family values, and the idea that solutions are from the individual and the community, not from the top-down government. And that's where I think that we've gone off the path because, again, small number of people know about us, are in tie-in with us, and there are millions of people in the state that should be supporting us. Elected officials right now, we aren't advertising at the state GOP level their successes. We also, in a lot of places, don't have that infrastructure so that automatically people will get in. So that's the issue, is that they aren't giving us their war chest because we aren't providing that value. That's also why we aren't getting the donations from a lot of donors, because they see the lawsuit going on against the state GOP and these other issues. So we need a credible party. And as chairman, I think that we do need to encourage a lot of that money going back to local parties. We need the state party to be well funded, and we do that by actually providing that value. By advertising when our elected officials do things. For example, when they did criminal justice reform a couple of years ago, you may have liked it, you may not have, but ultimately, fiscally conservative saved money, and it kept some families together. What happened? The Democrats started taking credit for being passed. Well, to me, that seems like a key opportunity to advertise how we care about people in their lives, about how we as Republicans care about communities and want to keep people out of jail. That's something we can use to combat the leftist media that constantly runs us over the coals. So that's what we need to do as state party level.
Mr. McNeely.
Yeah, what we do with public elected officials is a two-way street. We need them to help us in raising funds and promoting our conservative principles. We also need to be helping them, promoting what the good things that they're doing under the GOP bill. When they're candidates, put their biographical information out there. Let people know who's running and why, and why it's important to get individuals elected in different parts of the state. We need to make sure that we're putting boots on the ground. So when you have a local candidate needs help, then the party ought to be there to help you. So that when we ask you for money, you see value in it. When we ask the big donors for money, they see the value in what we're doing. And they see that there's a benefit for it. The problem with the state party is there's a disconnect between seeing what the party's able to do and how it connects with our Republican elected officials at all levels. The relationships are broken. We ask our elected officials to come speak at these chicken dinners, but what are we doing and how often are we talking to them the rest of the time in the year 365 days? How are we bringing value to them, and how can they help us? We very loudly criticize when we disagree, but how are we promoting the good things that they're doing and asking them how we can help them? And that will help with fundraising, that will help with grassroots unification. That'll do a lot of things. I think Jason, to your question regarding retiring accounts, I think that certainly we should explore and talk to our elected officials about bringing money back into the party in that way. I think that the party can and will be relevant for years to come under the right leadership that understands these relationships and the dynamics that will bring us together and make sure that we win for years to come.
Mr. Welch.
Well, it's important we stop looking at fundraising as clothes in a washing machine. That's kind of how it looks, right? So the party puts on the clothes and wears them for a little while, and then they put them in the washing machine, and goes around and around, comes out, and the elected official puts it on for a while, and he washes it, and it comes back to the party. And we're talking about the same money moving around from point to point. We need to broaden the base and bring other folks into the process. Lots of folks have money. They just don't want to give it to us. Why? Because they're not getting anything in return. So we have to give them something back. So I've seen the resolution. I believe it's a relatively good one. It's literally unenforceable. But that doesn't mean that elected officials shouldn't be spending that money, bringing that money back in. They don't want to do that, shouldn't they? Shouldn't, when they finish their career, they want to give that money back to the party? Why not? No problem, because they don't think it's going to be used well. Or that maybe somebody else is another better suitor for it. Could be. But we need to do the things that are right. And when you do the right things, the right way, the right time, let the chips fall where they may. Because if we convince folks that we're not washing their funds, just trading them back and forth, that they're actually being useful and used properly, they'll find a way to get us the money. Thank you.
All right. We are down to our last two questions. For I think this first one, I'll deviate from the rules a little bit. This should be a simple yes or no answer, and I just want to go straight down the line with it. Will you support religious freedom initiatives in the 2018 legislative session? Mr. Johnson.
As the party's best, yeah, well, yes, personally, and as the party's passed resolutions supporting religious liberty.
Mr. McFeely.
I have publicly supported religious liberty legislation when it first came out, and I will continue to support religious freedom legislation going forward.
Mr. Welch.
I was actually asked to be the chairman of the resolutions committee when that issue came before the state convention. And I shepherded it through, and I'll shepherd it through again as chairman.
Thank you very much. And a final question. Good one to end up on. What are your top 3 issues for the Georgia Republican Party, and what is your plan to implement them? Mr. McNeil. Top 3.
Top 3.
In 2 minutes.
Okay. Party unity in the grassroots. I mentioned that earlier. Training, incorporating ideas from men and women across our state, and specifically having strategies and measurable goals within a reasonable time to get that done. Engagement with millennials and minorities. We cannot continue to be relevant as a party if we ignore a large part of our state of conservative men and women from various backgrounds and experiences, and we have to. That means building relationships. That means going where people are, doing it consistently, applying the principles that we believe to the communities that we're talking to and what's important to them, and making sure that they get to meet with our grassroots and our elected officials, and that's a 365-day proposition that does not happen overnight. And then, of course, we have to raise money, but more importantly, we have to be good fiscal stewards, so that when people give to our party, we are responsibly spending that money. We are not being wasteful, and we're being accountable and transparent to those in our party and outside. So we have to have specific information about how we're spending money, put paperwork in people's hands, to the members of the state executive and committees, and make sure that they know exactly what we're doing, and that it is applying specifically to the work of growing our party and defeating Democrats. And those are just within that time frame what I think are very important issues, and as chairman, we'll get it done.
Go ahead. He's texting. He's cheating over here. Look, folks, that question didn't catch me by surprise because I thought about it a long time ago. In fact, I thought so much about it, I put it on my push card. It's right here for you to read, although I identified 4. First and foremost, vision. Where are we going? How are we going to get there? We're going to hold a vision casting session right after the state committee, and I'm elected, and we get the 6th district behind us. We're going to hold a vision casting session to understand what the vision of the grassroots for this party really is. And we'll come out of it very united, because we'll know exactly what it is we stand for and where we want to go. Number 2, build a digital infrastructure. We have got to catch up. And not only catch up, we've got to leapfrog the Democrats. It is not hard, but it is something you have to set your mind to. We can no longer work off a piece of paper and a pencil. It does not work in the 21st century. We need to know who our voters are and who are likely to be our voters so that we can reach them each and every day that we need to. Number 3, we had a lot of brand new folks participate for the very first time in 2016. We all have stories. In Augusta, we had a gentleman that was 82 years old, walked through our doors. He had never voted before in his life. And he said, I want to vote. He's not done. He's just getting started. As your next chairman, I will make sure that that person and the 17-and-a-half-year-old have the same opportunity. They're just getting started.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
The top three priorities are credibility of our party, supporting county parties, and fundraising. There's obviously a lot more detail on advancedgop.com, but briefly, the thing is that we need to have a credible party that people know about, period. That's one of the main things we need to do. Because again, with so few people of the state knowing we exist, that makes it a lot harder for things to happen. If we want elected officials to be accountable to our principles and to listen to our resolutions we pass, we need more people involved. To get people involved, we need people to want to be involved. We need them to get a value out of the state party. And part of that is making sure that we're actually doing the second thing, which is supporting county parties. And that means partnering with, on the state level, partnering with the different groups around the state, be they Tea Party groups, NRA groups, fraternal orders of police, churches, anyone who may have people who align with our principles, we need to get them involved. And we need to make sure that when people come to the state GOP, they know where they can go. If they may not want to come to every county party meeting, they should know where the Tea Party meetings are in these other organizations. Why? Because there's nothing wrong with us helping get people involved in politics, so we're the ones providing the value. So that we're the ones, the state GOP, that's showing, hey, we're getting these people involved, we're getting their information, we're getting them out to vote. And finally, by doing that and providing the trainings to the county parties and showing how to run stronger parties and letting the best practices spread around the state, that's how we can justify fundraising. Because ultimately, you should ask yourselves, why are you going to give money to an organization? Why would you give money? And ultimately, in every organization I'm involved in, including Rotary, in my fraternity, everything, it's about what are they doing with the money. And if we can provide those services to the public, we can encourage people to give. If we don't do that, we're just going to have the political industry that just doesn't care about our principles running politics. The party will be stronger and can be stronger when we focus on our credibility, growth, and fundraising.
Thank you. And Mr. Johnson, keep going for closing statements.
All right, well, thank you all for having me here today. I really appreciate the work that Scott and Ray and Jason have done here with with this event, and with Scott with the county party and Ray with the party under the last administration. I'm glad to be here in Newton County. I think that ultimately our best days are ahead of us in Georgia. We hear doom and gloom about Cobb County and Gwinnett County going for Hillary Clinton, but we can stop it and we can save it and we can make a stronger party if we're actually having a state party that's committed to building that infrastructure, that's committed to getting people involved. That we have an organization where people will be involved, want to be involved, and can make a difference. Because that's why people supported Trump, that's what people in the millennial generation want, that's what all people want, is to be able to make a difference in politics. Remember, that's why I got involved. I got involved because I didn't like the way things were going, it didn't seem Republican, Obama definitely wasn't doing good for the country, and I wanted to fix it. I'm sure that's the same for almost all of you in this room, that that's why you wanted to be involved, is to fix the problems that are going on in our country. And we need a party that answers that call. We're all here because we're exceptional. We're exceptional. We are the small percentage that are going to be involved no matter what fighting. We need to make it easier and more intuitive to be involved. We need an organization that people want to be involved in and are empowered with. For the past years, I've been trying and working hard to get people involved. I started with the newsletters in 2013 through Advanced GOP, and you can see where I was keeping people informed and involved. I've been spreading what events were happening around the state. I spread what was happening here in Newton County when it seemed to be a secret, and yet I put that out to the entire state so people knew what was going on in the rule breaking here. Because with light comes accountability. And that's what I've been doing for years. Around the state. And then for the past year and a half, I've been leading a statewide grassroots organization, growing it from a few people to a very large number. And that organization, it has 4 local chapters and growing. The past chairman of the Cherokee group is here in the front row. He did a great job there, just put on a great event, bringing light to the legislative process. Kevin Wright, sitting in the front left. And that's the type of thing that happens when you actually think about what do the people want. Do they want to be educated? Do they want to be informed? Do they want to know how to run for office? The state GOP needs to be providing those resources to let people know how to be involved and empowered. As chair, and I've been doing it. It's demonstratable. You can go to the Advanced GOP website and you can see it for the past 4 years. It's not just rhetoric, it's what needs to be done. I've been devoting my time to it, not paid, not involved in the political industry to make it happen. I'll be doing that in the future as chairman. So I'd appreciate your votes in Augusta. Be around after the meeting to talk to all of you again. Please vote Alex Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Republican. Mr. McNeely.
Ladies and gentlemen, we need a chairman that is principled. I mentioned earlier, if we don't stand for something, we'll fall for anything. And leadership has to be willing to stand and speak the truth and do it in a respectful way, but stand on those principles that we believe and do it publicly. Because if we don't have those principles, then who are we as a party? We need a chairman that is grassroots, that has worked their way up through the ranks, that has rolled up their sleeves and done the hard work that you do in these elections and all throughout the year, that can help unify our party and have individuals work together because you have a leader that's been there and done that with you over the years. We need a chairman who understands and has done the work of engagement with millennials and minorities. So many elected officials of both parties give lip service to these things. But we have to go where people are and build relationship and understand that if we do these things, if we commit, if we know what people need and what they want and show them how they apply to our principles and how those principles will work for them, then we grow our party. We need individuals, an individual as a chairman that understands the articulation of a clear vision that says why we're doing what we're doing and why there's a distinction between Republicans and Democrats and the importance of electing Republican officials so that we can raise the money, so that we can have buy-in at all levels, so that we can work together. I'm very proud to have served for many years with you, and I ask for your vote to become the next chairman of our party because we need leadership that has those qualities and willing to do the work with you together all the time and incorporating who you are and what you bring to the table. I remember when I was first coming to a county party meeting, I didn't know a soul and they didn't know me. But I came because of the principles that I believe. I came because I was willing to work hard to grow our party and help Republicans get elected. And I knew that there wasn't anybody in that room that was better than anybody else. We had a common bond based on what we believed. And we have to remember that going forward. And we have to focus on the big picture of what it means to make sure that this party is relevant. What will we be saying to the men and women outside of the convention halls once we voted on the next chairman? Well, who we elect will say who we are as a party and where we'll be going in the future. We need individuals that will pick up the phone and respond to you, answer your questions, take criticism when necessary, and have a servant's heart. I ask for your vote in support of doing that and look forward to working with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. McNeely. Mr. Welch.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you very much to each and every one of you for taking some time out of your busy schedule to come and listen. And as the candidate with the dubious distinction of closing out the record-setting 5,495th debate of this season, I want to take a moment just to publicly say I've grown to know the men that are running, and we are a blessed party to have some wonderful individuals stepping up. You have an important decision in front of you in Augusta, June 3rd. You will choose one of us as the leader of the party. And as such, you will set, by default, the direction the party will take for the next 2 years. You are exactly everything the founding fathers of this beautiful experiment we call the United States of America hoped and prayed for. You are informed, You are educated, and you are engaged. You've heard us. You've heard our positions. You've seen our platforms. You've seen the things that we can live with you to make your decision. It is now time for you to decide. Don't take it lightly. It's a very important decision. We all want you to vote for us, but only one will win. Choose wisely, because it will have an impact not just over the 2 years that are coming forward, but many years. I would ask you to look at who I've been and what I've done. You will find that I try to inspire you. Because if you're inspired, you will be passionate. And when you're passionate, you're fun to be around. And then as a passionate individual, you have influence over those that you engage in on a day-to-day basis. In doing so, you will influence them to give up two of their most precious resources, their time and their treasure, to join you and me in building the Republican Party of Georgia. And when you do that, we will have an impact this state has rarely ever seen before. It will start in your communities. It will grow to your counties and into your districts and into this state, and quite possibly even to the United States of America. For that reason, my name is Mike Welsh. I'm running for state chairman of the Republican Party of Georgia, and I humbly ask for your vote June 3rd. Thank you.
Well, gentlemen, this concludes the debate. I think you've all shown a tremendous amount of commitment, and I'm also sure your wives can probably tell you you're giving answers in your sleep at this point. But you've really demonstrated the commitment you have to Georgia and the Georgia Republican Party and our principles. And I thank you for coming out tonight for one more of these. I'd also like to take a second and recognize once again Rob Lee, who's asked to say a couple of words. If Rob would come up, please. Robert Lee, the chairman of the Georgia Federation of Young Republicans.
The incredibly well and professional dressed chairman. Real briefly, and this has been mentioned a couple times, the Georgia Young Republicans, in partnership with the College Republicans and Teenage Republicans, have a resolution that all of you can contribute your voice to at the state convention. This resolution not only calls for changing the rules to give us a vote on the executive and state committee to the extent possible under campaign finance laws, but actually sets an expectation for the state party to create and adopt a strategic plan under the advisement of a youth advisory committee and set tangible goals that we meet in the next two elections for the youth vote. The reality is that young conservatives are incredibly diverse. I graduated college 15 years ago. I don't have the student loan debt that many college students graduating now do. And the college students of this day live in an age that is changing on a daily basis, so comparing them to pre-college young conservatives is entirely unrealistic as well. This resolution will create a family partnership between the state party, the young Republicans, college Republicans, and teenage Republicans that doesn't call on politicians, that doesn't call on anybody but us to actually do something. Now is the time to do something and actually put feet to the ground and expectations to paper that we all can meet. This resolution can be found on our website at georgiayr.gop, and you'll get a couple of emails about it over the course of the next couple of weeks as well. So I encourage you to read it. I encourage you to ask questions to all of us in the Young Republicans, and I encourage you to vote for it, because this is a resolution that actually puts the expectations on us to do something, you to do something, and not politicians. The time is now. We as activists can actually start to put our expectations down on paper. And just to give you an impact of what this actually means, the Georgia Young Republicans on an annual basis adopts a strategic plan that puts measurable goals to paper. And we've been recognized as the best state federation in the country as a result of that. And it's actually continually being plagiarized by other states around the country as a result. So I encourage you to vote for that resolution, but first off, I encourage you to get to know that resolution and get to know us despite the fact that I'm so well dressed, I'm actually very approachable about any sort of comments or questions you might have. Thank you, and thank you to the chairman candidates, and thanks Jason for letting me say that.
You're welcome. As Scott J. kind of mentioned, I got my start in the College Republicans back in 1995, and through College Republicans and then a number of years of Young Republicans, including as well being state chairman of the Young Republicans for many years, until being middle-aged, trying to get the youth vote out. So I really applaud what Rob Lee and the current leadership is doing in this, and would add my name to the support for it as well. I will now turn this over to the chairman, Mr. Scott J. Thanks to you for letting me have the microphone for this meeting, and appreciate that.
I'd like to thank all of you for coming out tonight. Three gentlemen here, best of luck and everything. You know, I appreciate it. I know it helped me a lot. I appreciate everybody here if they were listening. Jason, thanks for moderation. With that, we'll be adjourned. Thank you.